B-Knocks.
On today's episode, I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of focusing on a particular artist and their family tree, I'm going to revisit a few groups that don't get talked about enough that I was listening to growing up. Now, I'm not going to go into their full discography, but I will give you my standouts from the album that the songs that I'm covering are on. No need to keep you waiting. Let's get it. Let's start things off with CMG and the Special One, better known as the Conscious Daughters. They dropped their debut album, Ear to the Street, November 30th, 1993. Now, from this album, we get cuts like Something to Ride To, better known as The Funky Expedition. This song is still fire to this day, an absolute banger. As a matter of fact, this cut was so dope, it didn't need a hook. Also from this album, we get We Roll Deep. This was another banger. Now, to all my gamers out there, you can find this track on Grand Theft Auto 5 on the West Coast Classics radio channel. This group was dope. They had bars and a unique sound at the time. Rest in peace to the Special One, and shout out to CMG, who was still doing a thing. Next up, the South Central Cartel. This group consisted of members Prodigy, Havoc the Rhyme Son, Havoc the Mouthpiece, LV, DJ Grip, and DJ Chaos. Now, LV was the dude that sang the hook on Coolio's smash hit, Gangsta's Paradise. Handpicked by Russell Simmons over at Def Jam, they dropped their sophomore album, In Gats We Trust, on May 10th, 1994. Now, from this album, we get cuts like Serving Them Heat, which is my favorite song by them. This was an absolute banger to me. Gang Stories, 17 Switches, and it also had one more banger that should have been way bigger than what it was. Gangsta Team, featuring MC8, Ice-T, Spice One, and Tupac. This song was nuts. It has some other cuts on here too, so go check it out. Let's head to Pomona, California, and talk about Code 187, aka Hutch, KMG the Illustrator, Go Mac, and DJ Total Chaos, better known as Above the Law. Now, Hutch is also a producer as well, for those that don't know. It's well known that he was the original understudy to Dr. Dre on production, and is also credited as being the originator of the G-Funk sound. After the split between Eazy-E and Dr. Dre, Above the Law stayed with Eazy and Ruthless Records. On July 12th, 1994, they dropped their third album, Uncle Sam's Curse. And from this, we get Black Superman. Now, this song is an absolute West Coast classic. I hit the loop juice. Shout out to KMG. Who had the better verse, KMG or Hutch? Leave it in the comments. Rest in peace to KMG. Now, you know I can't do this video without mentioning these two. Yuck Mouth and Numbskull, better known as the Loonies, dropped their debut album, Operation Stackola, on July 4th, 1995. Now, they're best known for their smash hit, I Got 5 on It, which is probably the biggest weed song ever made. There was also a remix made for the song which features Drew Down, E40, Spice One, Shock G, and Richie Rich. Where you from? Oakland, smoking. Which version was your favorite? This album had also spawned another single, Player Hater, which was also a banger. And some other standouts from this album will be Put the Lead on You, featuring Drew Down, P's Players and Hustlers, featuring Richie Rich and Drew Down, Operation Stackola, 5150, 900 Blamer In, gotta keep it clean, Yellow Brick Road, So Much Drama, and Plead Guilty. Classic album. Now here's another super slept on group, BG Knockout and Gangsta Dresta, best known for their feature on the classic Eazy-E song Real MF&Gs, Gotta Keep It Clean, where they were dissing Dr. Dre, Snoop, and Death Row Records. To my knowledge, they were the only rap group that really went at it with the Dogg Pound on wax and had physical on-site activity. They really had beef. And to that point, that may have been why their music was overlooked. On August 15th, 1995, they dropped their debut album, Real Brothers, which was a dope album, by the way. It had cuts like Jealousy, which was one of the lead singles off the album. This song was a knocker. DPGK. Now for those that don't know, that means Dogg Pound Gangsta Killer. Now on this song, they was firing shots at the whole Dogg Pound. And I ain't gonna lie, this was a slept on diss track. And 50-50 Love, which was the other lead single off the album. This song is considered to be a dedication track to Eazy-E, who had passed away right before this album dropped. This song was super dope to me. It definitely had a message. And if anybody knows who sang the hook, leave it in the comments. On October 10th, 1995, Caution dropped their debut and only album, South Central Los Scandalous. Now, this group consisted of members Gonzo, Cell, and Kato. Classic slept-on album, by the way. To me, almost every song was a knocker. I've personally purchased this album about 5 times back in the day. This had cuts like What You Wanna Do, OG's Trippin', Sold Up, We'll Take the Wackest Song and Make It Better. That was a banger. Land of the Scandalous, Super Sperm featuring KD, Bounce Rock Skate, my favorite song by them, absolute knocker. Still at Will, 16 Times, another banger. Slangin' and Scrappin', and What That South Central Like, featuring Be Real from Cypress Hill. I don't know what happened with this group. I don't know why they broke up, but they had it, bruh. Rest in peace to Gonzo. On April 8th, 1997, 3 Times Crazy dropped their debut album, Stacking Chips. Although they did drop an EP 2 years prior titled Sicko, Stacking Chips was their official debut. This group consisted of members Keek the Sneak, Agerman, and B.A. They're best known for their hit song, Keep It On The Real, classic. This one should be on the West Coast Hall of Fame. Now, some of the cuts from this album would include Sickaluffa, or Sickaluffa. I don't know if I said that right. Rollin' Hundreds, featuring E40, Harm, and Mr. Spence. Next Ends Ho. This was a banger. Can't F With This, featuring Seagram, rest in peace, Harm, and Pleasure. Stacking Chips, West Coast-ish. Stanky Panky, featuring Numbskull from the Loonies and Mr. Spence, and Ghetto Soldiers. We gonna end like this. King Son and Mr. Taylor, better known as the Who Riders, dropped their debut album, Who Ridin', November 25th, 1997. To me, this was another West Coast classic album. This one had cuts on it like Shot Callin' and Big Ballin'. This beat was ridiculous. Pounds, Keys, and OZs. Taxin'. Who Ridin', featuring Saphir, another underrated rapper, who was the older brother of King Son. Talk About Bank, classic song. Knocker. West Coast Campaign. Off the Ringer, and Down on My Luck. Shout out to the Who Riders. So that wraps it up for this episode. Like I said, this is only part 1. I'm going to be doing more of these, so stay tuned. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't. Till next time.